We have a very interesting webinar lined up for you, developing business models to manage project finances. So before we start our session, I would like to give some guidelines to you all. So we are glad that you will be provided with a certification of participation to all the participants who attend the webinar to the end. And in order not to disturb the course of the webinar, we request you to turn off your mic when the speaker presents. And if you have any queries, you can use the hand button or the chat box in the Zoom webinar. Okay, you can also submit your questionnaire via the QA box. Okay, so all queries will be addressed in the QA session. So you can pose your questions either in the chat box or in the QA box. So now, without further delay, let me welcome our panelists. We have Dr. Gil Albert and Mr. Cesar Michango. Dr. Gil Albert is a specialist in renewable energy. He is an author of books, Optimal Power Flow in Energy Market, Considering Intermittencies and Generation, and PV Power Plant and Technical Specification for Power Transformer and Transformer Design. He has 15 years of experience in the field of renewable energy. He is also a professor in the Engineering College of UAM and he was a project manager for the PRI program on the renewable energy options funded by Europe. So I welcome you to the webinar, Dr. Gil. We also have Mr. Cesar. He is a renewable energy engineer and a project manager and financial advisor. He has done his MSc in Science and Technology of Renewable Energy and his graduation in Applied Physics. He is a partner at MUV. So I welcome you both to the webinar, and I would like Dr. Gil to start with the session. And for the attendees, if you have any queries, you can post it in the chat box or the QA session. We'll have the question answer discussion at the end of our session. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Gil.
Thank you for a nice introduction, and also for this grateful opportunity that you are giving us, me and Mr. Cesar, to be part of this webinar as a panelist. So this webinar will be interactive. Me and Cesar will present and they will discuss. If some have some question, we are here to try to answer this question. We know that it is nowadays to developing a business model using the project finance. There are some standard and also some requirements that we need to follow. Let me share now to start with definition. What is the business model? Business model is a high-level planning for how a business will aim and maximize the profit. And this high-level planning should be has two main focus: planning, marketing planning, and the financial planning. Inside of marketing planning, at least to have the value proposal of the project, the brand also, where we can communicate about the value proposal to stakeholders like the government, like the lenders, like the shareholders, and also for the customers about our business. And for the case of the energy business model, it's better also to look for the target market. Before to do our business case, we need to do some pre-works that it's demand for our customers of the energy that we are planning to develop inside of our business model. The financial planning also is the other part of the business model, where we need to look about the revenue, and also if this revenue can cover the cost, it can cover the debit service, can cover the the interesting, can cover the fixed cost. So in the case of the energy business model, normally we have these 7 key metrics that we need to follow. If you looking for the business model for energy, it's better to see about the portfolio roadmap. And also the host and the country or government to see about some legal framework like the fiscal and the forex regime. When I say about the forex regime, I'm talking about the tax exchange. To see also about the strategy, objective strategy, if it is there on the place, the strategy objective. All these main requirements should be aligned with the technical aspect. Let us also to make sure that our business model, in case for energy, are aligned with the universal access of the power of electricity for all the people by 2030. As we know, this is the main goals. It's 7 goals that we need to meet until 2030 to make sure that all the population in the world will be access to affordable and reliable sustainable energy. Take account that now just 16% of the global population has access of the power. Next slide. Oh, we say that inside of a business model, we have a value proposal. This value proposal should ask some question when we are talking about the business model for energy, the ton of CO2 in terms of the reduction of CO2, to take account also the energy transaction and the security of supply. Security of supply, it's one key metric in terms of the technical aspect that we need to look for to make sure that our project, when we are developing our business model, will bring the stability for the grid. And we say that also our brand should communicate to the value proposal of the project, to also to have some target that it's aligned with the identification of the off-taker. To do this for energy business model in general, before we need to carry out energy demand forecasting. In terms of financial plan for business model, it's better also to take account that the energy we are looking to produce should follow what the financial plan needs in terms of how many the unit of power we must sold to cover the fixed cost and also become profitable. So to see first the dollar, we are using the currency here, dollar in case. Okay, to see the dollar per megawatt hours. Megawatt hours is unit of using to electricity sector. The regulatory framework also is other subject that we need to follow up to see if there's some regulatory framework in terms of the least cost solution. The market operator normally are looking for the field megawatt to be selling, not to, as you, the renewable energy, normally it's solar and in the wind, it's intermittent source of power. So the end of the day, that means the energy produced for this source is not for instance, film. That's why we call non-film megawatt. So this is when many requirements that the market operators are looking for when we are developing a business model for energy. Project finance. Project finance is the other topic that we need to see when we are developing the project business model. In terms of universal acceptance, there's no a unique definition. So the finance of the developing or exploration of the writing, natural resource, or other assets where the bulk of the financing is being provided by the way of debit, and it's to be repaid principally out of the asset behind financially and their revenue. What does it mean? It means like the project finance, all assets that will come from the investment from project finance should be covered the debit service and also the equity provided by the promoter. In terms of the characterization of project finance, project finance, first of all, when we are thinking about the project finance, it's better also to think about the project promoter that created the project company. Other name is Special Proposal Vehicle, SPV, in order to incorporate the project. The SPV is incorporated for the sole purpose of completing the project, and is an entity that it will honor, build the operator, and maintain the project. Also, the project company is legal and independent and create an economic independence which is not depending on the asset of the promoter of the project. The cash flow generated by the project finance project company should be sufficient to cover debit service and the operational cost. This is one main metric that the project finance are looking for, to make sure that the cash flow generated by the project can cover all debit service and also the operational cost during the project life. The project finance also can be variable and they give also some guarantee limited to the project asset. That means all the guarantee and all the recovery of investment should come from the asset that this project finance are looking for. Decision of the viability as well as the bankability of the project is made based on the economical financial modeling. Said I will show as well in the other slide about how we can do what is the principal input of the project of the economical financial modeling of the project also. Generally, for the large scale project like solar or wind, we use the standard of project finance. The sponsor look for to insulate themselves from the both of the project, debit and the risk of the file the project. So for the sponsor and the lenders also are looking about the risk. There may be a genuine desire on the part of the sponsor to share some of the risk in a large project with the other interesting partner. Sponsor may be constrained in the ability to borrow the necessary funds for the project, either from financial institutions or for credit agents. This is the other position of the project finance. That's the role for each one. The role of each one for all the participation in project finance, we have the government, we have the sponsor, the owner for the project. Okay, so the government, the role is to provide or to ensure the concession, to ensure all the license, all the permits. Okay, and the lenders also to provide the financier of the debit. We have some supply during the project development, like legal consultant, like financial consultant, technical team, and the operation team also during the operation time. We have also APC, who is responsible about the engineering, procurement, and the design of the project. In terms of equity and the debit, so the source of the project finance, normally the source of money is coming from equity and the debit. Equity is money that we can provide from the partner or the promoter of the project. Debit is it's covered by the lenders, and these lenders are looking at all the standard of what the project finance says about it. Normally, we have this ratio between equity and the lenders 25 equity and 75 lenders. 30 equity and 70% and the 80% it's debit. The source of funds for project capital in terms of the lender's requirement. Generally, lender take great care to review all the project agreement to see if this project agreement is well aligned with what is the rules say, if it is aligned with the best practice, it's aligned with what the project finance guideline is say about it. Okay, this all is about to allocation the risk. Also, the project, the lenders are looking about the force majeure provision. If the Austrian government can accept the force majeure, if is there some special attention about protecting the project company, all similar provision in order agreement. Lender also are looking about the agreement containing liquidated damage for default by the counterparty, like energy. Energy normally we have some off-taker, and this off-taker can take the power to sell. But the lenders also would like to see if this off-taker can have the capability to take all this power and to sell also, and to do the some financial due diligence for the off-taker of the power to see inside if this off-taker also has some default or not. The commitment of the host government is other thing that the project finance we looking for this kind of the business model, for energy business model. In terms of the sponsor or share, the shares or sponsor are the owner of the project, are the developer, are the promoter of the project, are looking about the incentive. If the also government, there's the incentive about there's the inception of the customer duties or tax. There's some tax incentive repayment, like a corporate tax repayment during the debit service. The lenders that are concerned with also with the cash flow before debit service to see if this cash flow can repay the debit or not. While the sponsor are seeking to fund and accept the equity RR and the project are also and the short payback period as well. The lender's expectation during the due diligence process is the main action undertaking to make sure that the project sustainability, legal aspect, and all the project agreement. So during the due diligence, lenders are doing are doing the inspection of all agreement that the project has in terms of how the project has the land acquisition, how the project follow the legal framework requirement, to see also about the demand for customers power, if the off-taker has the capability to take this power and to sell the power, to say about the technical aspect, if the feasibility study are following the technical aspect, the grid code of the Austin country, for the region, that the power will be interconnected, to say about the capex, to say about the opex, all development costs, to do due diligence also under economic and financial feasibility study, to see some contract that will be part between the project company and the off-taker, like a power purchase agreement, connection operation agreement. So all this document will be part during the due diligence period that it will take by the lenders. The lenders requirement also is about the political risk, okay? And to see which tools that the host government has to cover the political risk, to cover about the off-taker risk, to see if off-taker there's no capability to repay the invoicing that they will billing during the billing period, which mechanism that the government has. There is a sovereign guarantee, okay? There are special economic zones where we can find some tax exemption. So this is all that the off-taker will look for during the due diligence also, to make sure that, okay, the provider of the debit are interested in the cash flow available for the debit service in each individual year. And also the first service to ensure that the project can meet it is interesting and the principal payment obligation on a year by year until the debit service period. Requirement in the expectation from the government. The host government normally, first of all, when it's coming with a new project like this, are looking about the security of the power, which legal framework the country has, and if this legal framework the developer follow it, about the local content also, the tax and the fees. So the government for that are looking to see forward about the economic and financial model using during the feasibility study, to see also all the technical feasibility study, to see about how much in terms of the benefit the state will have, the contribution of the community and the social aspect. So to fulfill all the legal framework that should be applied for that us the government. So this is a requirement that the government are looking for. Local community. Normally, with our experience when we are developing a project, when I was the manager the auction program, we call it PROLEN, the local community normally has some expectation, like if the project can create the job, the local job during the whole phase of the project. And also they are looking about the training for labors to manage or to do some special tasks. They use the local security service also is other expectation from the community, to highlight the contribution of the project in the community. How much percent of the revenue from the project will be using for the local community? To check the possibility of the resentment of the local community also. About the resentment, the lenders also are looking if the developer of the project are following some guideline from IFC standard about the lenders acquisition, and also of the best practice from Principle of Ecuador. Off-taker requirement and expectation. The technical aspect and the price of electricity is many goals that the off-take are looking about. For that, the off-take normally are looking about the power purchase agreement to make sure that, okay, all the feasibility study, this coming new project will not bring the instability for the grid, but will make the grid more stronger. Okay, this is one many requirements that a lot of off-take are looking: the price of electricity and also the technical aspect to see if the feasibility study, during the feasibility study phases, all the electricity law, all the grid code, all the technical standards are well applicable during the technical study, mainly for interconnection study. That's why one main requirement is grid assessment to see if the proposed project will make it strong the grid or not, if it be connected to the national grid. So, sorry. The risk of business model. We have the credit risk insurance. This risk is risk that all the lenders, when before to finance some project, are looking to see, okay, which risk can you find? So one risk is off-take risk. It's typical the first risk I provide the developer access, like IPP. When I say IPP, I'm saying about the independent power producer. Okay, so to mitigate this risk, we should have the partial risk guarantee, which help to mitigate the off-taker non-payment risk. Is other risk that the lenders and the developer before to do the business model for energy are looking for. The political risk of insurance also is other risk that the lenders are looking for, to see which mechanism that we have on the place that they can mitigate this risk. Normally, with our experience, we a lot of the business model for energy using MIGA. MIGA is multilateral investment guarantee agency. It's part of the World Bank. And the project that are hosting in Africa, we have ATI, that is Africa Trade Insurance, that also can use to cover this political risk. But in terms of the payment from the off-taker to project company or SPV, it's necessary to have also other mechanisms that can cover this. We call it the letter of credit. Okay, this letter of credit normally is it's for that grace period from COD plus 6 months plus next 6 months. When we say about the COD, it is commercial operation data. It's the data that all the power generated and to put on the grid, this power should be billing in invoicing with the lenders. Sorry, with the company. And the risk mechanism to mitigate partial risk guarantee, we have this partial risk guarantee that can mitigate the non-payment risk from the off-taker. Okay, this is one other many risks that are all the lenders also before to finance the debit of the project are looking to see. Okay, which mechanism we have on the host country that can mitigate the non-payment risk. So we talk about the credit letter. Letter of credit is one mechanism that we have. But in case of it, there's the off-taker is an uncertainty to meet its obligation. We can use also the scroll account. Scroll account is like a guarantee account, where all the money is coming from the electricity selling by the off-taker will be put in this scroll account and should be managed with the special commercial bank, like a commercial bank, and this commercial bank, the end of the day will do the payment for the debit service for the lenders, and the other party will do the payment for the SPV to cover all operational costs during the project life. In order also to cover any payment default from SPV to lenders, we can use during a debit service, we call the debit service reserve account. This normally, it's covers 6 months of the debit service. This is standard in project finance. It's one standard in project finance, but it's depending the risk. Okay, if the risk is very high, we can do after 6 months. We can have what we call additional debit service reserve. Okay, to make sure that the project during all the debit service life will cover all the debit, and also will meet all obligations with the lenders. So other risk is about the currency risk. Okay, the country like Mozambique, we use our currency is medical. We call it medical, but for the project financing, normally the currency that we do, it's dollar on euro. We need to do the simulator or the financial model using the hard currency. And this hard currency is dollar. Okay, so sometimes some host government does not allow the off-taker to pay for project company in the dollar or euro. So when there is not a law, that means there's a risk, we call it the currency risk. Okay, so how to mitigate this currency risk? We have two mechanisms that we can get this. We can use the MIGA agreement, okay, where MIGA can pay compensation in the hard currency, specified in the contract of agreement between MIGA and the project company. Or we can also under PPA to have some clause inside of the PPA. PPA again is the power purchase agreement signed between off-taker and the project company. Off-taker is normally the utility company, is government transmission company who will take the electricity and also will sell this electricity for the end user. So we can have a special clause inside of PPA where we can say like each invoicing is calculated by seller, this case SPV, that is the special proposed vehicle. In dollar, you can be invoiced in the local currency. I say that Mozambique uses medical. And using exchange rate applicable of that day, okay? If there are any difference between exchange rate and the payment data, and the exchange rate and payment data, so we can trade as debit or credit on the next coming invoicing insured by the seller to buyer. So it's these two mechanisms that we have to mitigate this current risk. Also about the project risk insurance, like force majeure. All lenders before to finance the debit of the project, he's looking about the force majeure. If the host of the government, how treat this force majeure if there are some attack, terrorism, somewhere and explosion, okay? This is part of the force majeure. How we can mitigate this risk? So also we can use, again, we can use the MIGA, this multilateral guarantee agents can help us to mitigate this risk because the MIGA can buy this risk that we call force majeure. But also the government, the government can use the sovereign guarantee if it is in place. Some countries like Mozambique, nowadays, it's not possible to have a sovereign guarantee for the project like this. So that means if there's no sovereign guarantee on the place, one mechanism that we have to mitigate this risk, to cover this risk, is from MIGA. Okay, so to call for special mechanism by MIGA, that is include the clause in PPA to say, okay, this PPA, all this concession contract is contract that be provided by government, by us government. Okay, so inside of this PPA, all this concession contract, we can cover all the force majeure by MIGA. Well, if there's some force majeure risk, we can cover this risk using the MIGA technology, MIGA mechanism. For project document, I pass to Mr. Cesar. Mr. Cesar will continue do this.
Okay, thank you for the word, and I just want to desire you a good evening, and we'll go ahead with the presentation. And now we have the project document here. So before we go over the project document, it's important to remember that for the land to give their financial or their financing to the project in order to finance the project, it's important to say that the key element for the success of the project finance as a sound of lending is due diligence, as Mr. Jill was saying here. And this due diligence is carried out by the lenders in order to make sure about the sustainability and also the viable of the project. So all this process should be done by the lenders and also by the off-taker. Why off-taker? Because this is the one that we are going to sell our products. As we was mentioned here, that when we are developing the business model, we are looking forward to generate the revenues and also to make sure that we are going to be profit with our project. And regarding the project document, the off-taker as well as the lenders require some feasibility study to be presented by the promoter or the developer of the project. And the first one, we have the technical feasibility studies. And this technical feasibility study should be told about all the technical issues that is related to the project. I mean, how much energy that we are going to generate during the life of the project. I mean, during the 25 years in case of solar power plant. So the technical feasibility study should highlight the configuration of the system and take all the requirements that are requested from the lender and also the off-taker in order to make sure, okay, this project will generate or aims to generate the revenue using the natural result to generate the energy and sell it for the off-taker. So we need to present a detailed feasibility study in terms of technical part. And beside that, we have the grid assessment. What do we mean by grid assessment? Grid assessment, as long as we are going to join our solar part, I mean, to generate the energy. So we have to look forward to check if our power will be acceptable or will have some impact on the grid. So we have to do this grid assessment. So we have to take into account once we are going to inject our energy into the grid. So we have to look forward to say, okay, here we have the energy that should be generated and also injected to the power. So what is the impact of our power that we're going to generate? So this grid assessment is a start of impact of a load in the main grid in order to see as long as we are bringing a new source of energy to the grid. So we have to analyze or assess this impact that is going to probably be faced in the grid. So that's why it's important to do the grid assessment. And the demand forecasting. This is also important because it's not only necessary to have the technical feasibility and also grid assessment only. We have to do this demand forecast in order to see if we are going to sell our product. In this case, is energy that is going to be generated by our solar power plant. So we need to know who is going to buy this product, you know, because we need to look forward in terms of the customers that is going to receive our product. So this demand forecast helps us to know, okay, how many people, for example, is going to buy our products, our energy in this local that we're going to implement our project. So we need to have this information and to present to the even as well, even to the off taker and also to the lenders. So to make sure that, okay, the project is going to generate the desirable revenues, and also will be capable to cover all the requirements from the lender and also from the off taker. From the lender, it's important to say that they are looking this way to say, okay, the project is capable to generate the revenue and also to cover all the debit service. I mean, paying the principal and also the interest. So, and we have also the field work that should be taken or undertaken on site. So we are going to first we have to do the desktop study. So in this desktop study, we are going to see, okay, the area that we intend to implement our project is this one here, and then we are going to use, for example, the coordinates of the local. And but this field work is necessary to be on site to be developed. The topographic and hydrology and also the geotechnical stats to make sure about all the characteristics of the local sites that is going to be implemented the project. And it will going to help us in terms of how can we arrange our solar panels that will be used to generate the power, and also what is the characteristics of soil that is going to be installed our panel structure in order to support the solar panels. And we have also the EPC contract. Why do we have to have the EPC contract? Because if we are the developer, we can also instead of doing the feasibility study and also construct the power plant. But on other hand, we can also contract some contractor to develop to construct our solar power plant instead of being us doing this. So it's important to have this contract that is going to be established all the requirements between the developer and also the contract that's going to be on site to do the EPC works, and also the off-taker. As Mr. Gilles was saying here, the off-taker is the one that is going to buy our products. In this case, energy. In the business plan, we have to, instead of looking to generate the revenue, we have to look as well on how, not how, but who is going to buy the products, the product that we're going to provide. So this is the off-taker, and this will be done by the agreement called Power Purchase Agreement, and also should be on place the connection and operation agreement. So it will allow the developer to not only to construct or to design, construct, operate, and also to sell the energy that is going to be generated by that is going to be generated by the solar power plant. We have also the land agreement. Land agreement is important because once we are going to implement or install our solar power plant, it's important to have access to the land because it's where we're going to install our solar panels and also inverters and all equipment that make part of the solar power plant. So it's important to have this one here. Regarding the environment requirements, is also important as a part of the bulk of feasibility study that should be done. So we have the environment impact and alliances that should be on place in order to make sure, okay, the project will have this and that impact on the side or on the community regarding the environment. So we should go in details about these issues here. We have to guarantee also the operation and maintenance contract and government support, give government support agreements. So this concession agreement that will be on site or will be entered between the special purpose vehicle, which is the project company, and also the government, should be in place because it allows the project to design, construct, operate, maintain, and also sell the energy. So this lack of, or this group of documents should be presented in order to have access to the financing of our project. It's important to highlight here that this document should be presented by the promoter to the lenders and also the off-taker. So another point that is important to highlight here is, okay, we have an idea to develop a project, and perhaps we may have some money to invest on it. So let's suppose that our project costs some like $30 million. So we have this in our pocket, in our balance sheet. So in this kind of project that is financed by project finance, it's important to not to allocate all your balance, all your money on the project because of the group or because of the amount of the risks that are on site. So it's important to have it financed by equity and also the debt. But how can we find the financing of our project? How can we have access to the finance in order to develop our project? That's why we have to do what is called the economic and financial feasibility study. That is going to sell or is going to say or tells us that our project is feasible or not. So this is an activity carried out to analyze or to assess the viability of an investment. In this case, the PVSPP. The PVSPP is a photovoltaic solar power plant. So we are giving this example, but we can use the financial model to model many other projects relating to many different sources of energy. So how can we do this feasibility study? Which tool is recommended to analyze this feasibility study? So we have this the tool that is called the economic and financial model. This is an analytical tool used by the developer to make sure that our project is feasible. And how can we do this? By making the prediction of the cash flow of the project throughout its lifetime. I mean, in 25 years. So we have to analyze this cash flow during this lifetime of a project in order to get the financial indicator. And how can we decide that, okay, we just did the financial modeling and we have these results. So how can we analyze this to make sure or take a decision or to make a decision that our project is quietly or sweet, feasible or not? We have to make sure or we have to take a decision or make a decision according to the assessment of the viability indicators analysis criteria. So why do we call this criteria? Because we have some indicators that will help us to say, okay, our project is feasible or is viable to be implemented, and we can, and through these results that was found in our financial modeling, we can have access to the finance. So the financial model should be include some prediction, I mean, some estimation items, not items, but the parameters and also the decision one that is going to help us to say regarding the feasibility of our project. So, okay, we are talking here about the financial model. So it's important to know how can we structure our financial model in order to get all the parameters that we need and that are going to tell us about the feasibility of our project. So it's important to, when we are developing the financial model, it's important to time the project. What do we mean by timing? It's like it's the same as we have to put on the financial model all the phases of the project. I mean, the development phase and the construction phase, and also the operation phase, because it will help us to determine and also to compute the indicators that we decide to make a decision regarding the feasibility of the project. And then the project or the financial model should include the development costs that will include during the first phase of the project. And this includes the financial advisor that should be paid, and environment and social impact that should be done, I mean, the start, and also the right of using the land on the local that we are going to develop the project. Here in Mozambique, we call this DUAT, which is the document that gives you the right and also the permission to use the land or to use the land to implement your project on site. So it's important to have this one here. And also it's important to estimate the CapEx, which is the capital expenditure, and also the operation and maintenance costs, because this is important because we are going to see how much money do we need to develop this project, and also what will be probably the operation maintenance costs throughout the life of our project. And this must be fixed costs that we are going to face during the lifetime of our project. Technical aspect, we talked about it, is basically to show how many or the bulk of energy that we are going to sell to our buyer, in this case, which is an off-taker. And this we are going to sell in $10 per kilowatt hour, which is the unit of energy that's going to be sold on site. Not only inside, but it is going to be transported to many different sites. So to be sold, and also the clients should have it. It's also important to have on site the interest rates on the debt, because we have equity and also debit. So it's important to define on our financial model what will be the charge of on our debt that is going to be acquired by ourselves in order to implement our project. So when the lender gives you money to develop your project, he will charge you with some interest rate. So we have to define it. Of course, you can discuss it on the financial market, but it's important to have it as an initial or input variable. So it's important to do this one in order to forecast or foresee the possibility of the debit repayment. And also it's important to have on site or include in your financial model the legal framework requirements, and it can differ from country to country. So this ones here that we are presenting now is an example of the requirements of local framework here in Mozambique that is necessary to include in our financial model according to PPP law. We have here the concession fee, which is the fee that should be paid by the developer or the SPV during the operation of our power plant. We have to pay 2% during our debit service. During, for example, if we are going to pay our debit in 15 years, so we have to pay 2%, for example. And after this time of debit service, we are going to pay 5% of our revenue to the government. And also the local law allows and provides the financial benefits sharing. It means that after 5 years of operation of our project, the shareholders should share their shares to the stock market. Why do they need to do that? Because it will allow the singular people or a singular person that has condition to join or to buy this share will buy it and indirectly be a part of a project. by buying these shares. So it's important to do that. It's also important to include the fiscal benefits code requirements on the local. If we are going to South Africa or Mozambique and also Ghana, in whatever country we are going to develop our project, we should take a look or pay attention on the local requirements and that is necessary to be included in our financial model. So we have here, for example, the exemption of customer goods. Here in Mozambique, we call it IVA. In English, is a VAT, which is a value added tax, where is stated in 17%. And also we have the corporate tax that is 32%. But as an incentive here in Mozambique, there is a possibility to pay it not or not entirely paying 32% at once. No, we can have it as an incentive that we can pay during the first 5 years of operation. We can pay the corporate debt can be reduced in 18%. And also from the 6th to the 10th to the year 10, we can pay 6% of 32 corporation tax. So these incentives will help the project because we know we have the shareholder and also the land. So we need to pay the lenders because we just took from them our debit in order to develop the project. So these facilities is in order to permit the project to cover all the obligation, in this case, the principal and also the interest rate that is a charge in the lender side. And we also, the last one, the community contribution. And as Mr. Gilles was saying here, it's important to include this. As a benchmark, we found that it can stand between 1% and 2% of project revenue. What does it mean? It means that yearly we are going to allocate 1% or any value corresponding to 1 and 2% of our revenue to the local community. So it's important to do this one. By doing this, we are going to have, which is called the financial model, which is bankable and also acceptable for the country. And again, please, let's pay attention on the local legal framework in order to manage how to structure our financial model. And regarding the structuring any financial model, part of this, what we are seeing here, as just mentioned before, that we have to have on site or in our financial model 3 blocks. They are most important blocks that we have: inputs, the calculation, and also the report and summary of our indicator. We can have here that in inputs we have the project phases, which is a construction operation, and also the development phase should be on the financial model. It's important to present the technical assumption and mainly to say how much or how many energy or how much energy we are going to generate and also sell to our customer through the off-taker, because this is one who is going to buy our energy. And it's important to take or to put on the financial model the project costs and taxation, and also the interest rate that which is important for the repayment profile of our debit. Calculation, we are going to find, or we need to calculate the indicators of our project that will tell us about the feasibility and also the acceptability of the project. And we have to state the income of the project and also the balance sheet to go in details of or regarding the cash flow of the project, and also calculate the financial and indicator performance indicator, because we are going to see which rate we are going to have our money back, and also how can we or if we are capable to cover all the obligation regarding the debit that we have on site. And we have to present also the report and summary of a financial model. And it's important to have the equity project and also the equity IRR and also the project IRR, the cash flow summary, and also the financial and also the economic indicators. So it's important to have this one. By having all these requirements or all these items that we are seeing right now, it means that we are having the acceptable financial model and can be used for the project modeling and have our indicators in order to make a decision. Well, I'm going to show here a case study of a project finance and also the business model that can be used in this case of a project of energy generation. We are going to give an example of a solar power plant that is our project. So as we saw earlier in the first slide that Mr. Jill was presenting here, when we are about to develop our business model, we have to indicate or to highlight our value proposition. What is this one here? This is the way how we are going to tell the customer the value of our project that we are bringing on site or in the local and also for the country. What is it? Why this project is important to them, and why this project is so important to the country, and what improvement can we found related to the project? So we can say, okay, by generating energy using natural resources, for example, the solar power plant, we can reduce the tons of CO2, which is important because, as we know, nowadays we are fighting in order to reduce the CO2 by implementing a sustainable system. For example, solar power plant that is not related to use the substance that we can engage the environment. So it's important to say this one here, for example. And which one, regarding the grid stability, will the project or energy that's going to be generated will give us the stability of the grid or not? So this is a question that should be answered when we are presenting the value purpose of or the value proposition of our project. So in this case here, we are going to show that the grid ability contribution that will be on site because of the project, and also the reduction power loss in the grid. So when we are going to implement our project, we are going to generate energy for the local population as well as for the remote areas, because we can make the energy arrive there by the transmission line, and also improve the existence of or the existing grid on site. So we can improve this by providing the good quality of energy. And also we can have the energy transition, because as we know, when you look to the Africa continent, we can see that some countries have some rural areas that are still using the wood for their energy needs. So they are using wood. So it means that they are helping to produce all the issues that can engage the environment. So it's important to say, okay, we are going to contribute in the energy transition because we are going to less the use of wood, and then use the sustainable energy. For example, the solar energy. We are going to change also the lifestyle locally, and also benefits the country. Regarding the brand, what kind of a brand that we are going to provide to our customer? In this case here, we call this SPV, which is a special purpose vehicle. That is a solar power plant that is going to generate the energy. And also the brand, we intend with this one here to generate the revenue for the local community, and also improve the social aspect. Okay, we have the energy, which is our product, and also the brand. So who is going to buy our energy? In this case here, we have to look at the target market. In this case here, talking about energy generation using solar power plant, we have to look forward to check who is going to buy our project. In this case here, we call off-taker. Off-taker, which is a public utility that will pay us for the generating energy, and also distribute it to the local community, and also to the world, or to the whole country. we have to look at the revenue. When we talking about the revenue, we have to look at the improvement of the balance sheet of the off-taker. Why? Because the off-taker will buy our energy, and also he will sell it to the end users, which are the clients that is going to buy the project. Our main task is just to generate and sell the energy to the off-taker, and then off-taker will sell it to the users. So it's important to highlight the revenues. How can we generate this one here? The government revenue through taxes, and also as I was saying here, we're going to allocate some of revenue to the government. So it's important to highlight this importance of the project to our government, not only for our government, but the host government on site that we are going to implement our project. And the revenue must cover the fixed costs, which is corporate taxes and VAT, and also withholding tax and community contribution. The corporate tax, VAT, and also withholding tax, this is the taxes or the costs that will be covered by the project, and will be allocated to the national or the local government. And we also we have the concession fee, which are the fees that are going to be paid to the government. And yeah, we have here the case study, as we can see here. The case study is about the 30 megawatt grid connected solar power plant. So we have chosen the one solar power plant, in this case, which is called Katembe Solar Power Plant. This is a project that's going to be implemented and will generate over or up to 30 megawatt in alternative current, and this energy will be injected to the grid connected or will be injected to the national grid or national electrical grid. And this project will be on site in Katembe, which is some of the seat that we have here in Maputo province, and it's about 100 kilometers away from Maputo city. So in terms of description, we have here that we are going to generate, and the PV side, I mean the solar power plant will generate 32 megawatt peak in DC in this case, and also will inject the power to the national electrical grid in 30 megawatt in AC. We can see here that we have some losses. This is true, and this happened on site because we have the losses during the conversation of or the conversion of our power from DC current, from DC to AC current. So it's important to say this one here. The image show, the first image on our left, it shows a little bit on site or the site that's going to be implemented the project. In our right hand, we have the transmission line, because as you can see here, the red line that's is taken from the site that's going to be implemented the project, and to the nearest substation. So basically, here we are presenting the configuration of the solar power plant. As we can see here, we have the solar park, or the Parque Solar, this is called in Portuguese, but in English is a solar power plant. And also we have the substation, the local substation, and we have the transmission line and the substation that is going to be connected to the solar power plant. And then from this one here to be the energy that's going to be injected to the national electrical grid. So basically the energy that's going to be produced will be producing around or by the 400 volts that is going to be stepped up to 33 kV in terms of voltage, and also this voltage will be stepped up to 66 kV in terms of voltage, and then we can transport this energy or power from the substation, the first one, to the second one. And from the second one, we are going to be able to inject our energy, which is our project, to the national electrical grid. And then when we are doing this, we are selling by this time our energy to off-taker and generating this way the revenues. And as we know, and we have heard about the shareholder and their rules on the project finance. We have here an example of a project finance. The SPV is a special purpose vehicle, which is a name that is given to the project, because this project is not basically a part of, for example, if a developer is a company and wants to implement this kind of project, he's not going to allocate this project internally or in his company. He's going to create, it's like a separate project that's going to generate the cash flow and also the revenue itself. So that's why we were saying that the project finance or the project that is financing is financed by project finance. It generates the cash flow and also the revenue by itself. It means that the sponsors can deposit or can put their money on the project, and also the lenders, and all these parts should be on place because of the kind of risks or the bulk of risks that is on place. We have here the sponsors that they are going to contribute by using the equity. And also we have the lenders that we are going to have their money through a debit. And we have the off-taker, that is the one who is going to buy our energy, which is our project that we are selling to the customer. And also we have the government. And between SPV and lenders, we need to have the loan agreement that states all the requirements and all the penalty that is necessary in terms of agreement to have access to the money that we need to develop the project. So the lenders will give us the money, and also we have to make sure that all the agreements are on site. And also we have here the off-taker and also LS provided bank. LS is a letter of credit bank. Letter of credit provided bank is a bank that is going to give the money to SPV when the off-taker is not capable to pay or to pay, in this case, the SPV. Why? Because we are starting the project by selling the energy to the off-taker, okay? And off-taker will pay us for this service of providing energy. But we can face some situation that off-taker is not capable to pay us for the energy that we are injecting in our or in the local electrical grid. So when it is seen, it's important to say, okay, the off-taker will show that I'm not capable to pay you for the energy that you are giving me, so I need to pay you anyway. And how can off-taker can do this? The off-taker will call the provided bank, will sign a letter of credit agreement that must be stated on site, and this will allow the provided bank to pay the SPV, as we can see here. The provided bank will pay the SPV on place of off-taker. And then when the off-taker is capable to again finance the SPV, instead of financing it, will pay the provided bank because of the money that was allocated to pay the producer of energy. And this off-taker will pay again the provider bank because of the money that was allocated. This payment will be on site using some interest rate. It means that the off-taker will be charged by the provider bank to pay the money and for an interest rate. And when the local bank or the provider bank is not capable to buy or to pay the SPV, the off-taker can go for an agreement with the DFIS, which is the Development Financial Institution, in order to pay the bank in 12 months, enough money to pay the SPV. And to do so, the government and also the DFIS should have a memorandum of agreement that makes sure that the off-taker will then or later give some indemnity money to the DFIS to pay the provided bank to cover all the later, all the money that is necessary to pay the producer. So the off-take and the government participate on the project finance because of the PP law, as we saw earlier. And also the government will allow to give us the concession fee and also the concession agreement which will allow us to design, operate, and also sell the energy. And it's important to highlight or to take into account that the number of participants on the project finance can vary from project to project. We can have, for example, 2 sponsors or 3 of sponsors depending on the project, and all should contribute with their money making, in this case, the equity, and the remaining money should come from the lenders. So this case study was established, as we can see here, the project location, which is Katembe in Maputo City, and will generate, as I was saying, 30 megawatts in AC. And we have here the energy to be generated. We have here the P50. This is a probability. This is an unindicated technical indicator that show us the amount of energy that is going to be sold to the off-grader. I mean the off-taker. Sorry, to the off-taker. So in this case here, we are going to generate this amount of energy here in megawatt per year. And the project life is for 25 years. And we have here the net capacity factor that is make the relationship between the energy that is being generated on site and the energy that will be generated in the perfect conditions. So the off-taker here again, the off-taker, that is the one who is going to buy our energy. In this case, here we put this EDM as an example because here in Mozambique, the off-taker is EDM, but it may change from country to country. So we have to look forward to check which is a off-taker. And also for this project, the expectation tariff was 7.5 cents per kilowatt hour. And we have also the indexation. Why do we need the indexation? Because we cannot go for a static tariff throughout the lifetime of a project because of the cash flow that could not be possible to cover all the obligations and also the taxes that we have to pay to the government and also to cover all the requirements for shareholders. And we have here for this project, the indexation in this case will be for 15 years. That is a period of a debit covering. And in terms of total of investment, we have here the $33 million. And the capital structure, this project was structured as this way here, with 70% is from debit and 30% is from equity. I put 0 here because depending on the case or case by case, we can have, for example, what we call the grant, which is the amount that is which is given by, for example, in a government as a donative. So if we can have this one, it's okay. And we are showing here, for example, the layout of the solar power plant. As I was saying, we are going to have the panels here that can be combined in series, for example, or in parallel in order to generate the energy. And on site, we are going to have the DC disconnected switch and also the inverters. The inverters are so important because they are mainly responsible for converting the DC energy to AC energy. AC energy that's going to be injected to our national electrical grid, passing through the transformer that is going to step down and step up the voltage in order to be aligned with the requirements or technical requirements of the grid. And then we have here the project costs that should be taken into account. And we have here the CapEx, as we can see. The CapEx is a capital expenditure, which is necessary to develop the project. And this capex here should be allocated for each of the equipment that is necessary for the project development or the construction of our solar power plant. As we can see here, we have the solar panels and also the mounting structure. It's important to allocate part of this amount to land survey, as we saw before, that we need to do the topographic studies and geotechnical study, and also many other studies relating to the land survey. So it's important to say, okay, the land survey will cost this, and the inverter, for example, will cost that one or this amount here. And also we have the monitoring system, which will allow us to monitor the system remotely. And we have all the electrical equipment. It's important to mention that and allocate the corresponding money. We have civil works, the step up and step down transformer, as I mentioned before. And we have the transmission line, because it's necessary to evacuate the power that you are generating from the site or from the PV power plant to the national electrical grid. And it's important to have the contingents to prevent some unexpected event during the construction phase, for example. And we have here the operation costs, that is the OPEX. For this project particularly was found that the OPEX that is going to be faced or can be used per year is over 0.301 million per year. And it will cover the labor costs, maintenance costs, and also energy costs. And when it is applicable, we can also look forward to manage with road maintenance, and also to have different type of charge, and also insurance and security. In this case here, the concession fee, we just put here on the operation cost because it's the amount that we are going to allocate to the government yearly as a cost, because once we generate the revenue, we have to allocate part of this revenue by paying 2% of this revenue, or allocating 2% of this revenue to the government during the repayment of the debit, which is in this case of the project is 15 years. And then after these 15 years, we are going to pay 5% to the government, which is the second concession fee. So it means that we are going to allocate 5% of this amount to the local or the host government. And we have also the development costs and taxes. Development costs, we have this amount here, 5.6 million. And it should cover the environment and social assessment impact. And we can also pay the financial advisors that is going to develop the project finance in order to say or to make sure about the feasibility of our project, and how can we get access to how can we have access to the money that we need to develop the project. And it's important to take into account the fees and reserve account. In this case here was about is about 2,318 million. And these fees and reserve account includes the interest during construction, and the upfront and commitment fee, and pre-financial DSRR. This indicator here is important for the lenders because it will cover all the obligations for the first 6 months from the COD, which is the commercial operation date, to ahead. So it means from the day that we start selling our energy, which is our product, to the buyer, which is off-taker. So we have to make sure that we have any reserve account that will cover some unexpected situation of not being possible to pay the lenders, because as we know, many things can happen during these first six months. So we have to guarantee an account that has money to cover this unexpected situation. And also it's important to have the working capital to make sure about the costs of day by day that we are going to face during the operation phases of our project or our solar power plant. And as I mentioned before, it's important to take into account the legal framework assumptions on our financial model. So here we have the concession fee, as we talked about it. As we have talked about it, which is 2 and 5% in this case of Mozambique, but it can change from country to country. So it's important to take this one here. And regarding the taxes and goods, we can have here the corporate tax, which we call IRPC, which is stated in, or is stated to be 32%. And also withholding tax, that is the taxes that will be deduced from the dividends, which is the money that should be allocated to the shareholder during the repayment of their money, which makes part of our shareholders. And also the VAT rate in Mozambique is 17%. And as I was mentioning before, we have the incentive regarding the tax benefits of IRPC, which can be reduced by 18% in the first 5 years of operation. And then from this year 6 to year 10, we can pay the 6% of the 32%. And then for the year 11 to year 15, we can pay 25% of 32 of corporation tax. So this incentive must be on place in order to make sure that we are going to implement, or we are going to pay the taxes by using the local incentive stated by the local government. And we also have the depreciation of our solar power plant. As we know, any asset can be depreciated, or its value can be depreciated during the time or over time. So if something costs, for example, $5 today, it's not going to cost the same tomorrow or from now to 3 years time, for example. So we have to take this into account, and the rule doesn't change here for the solar power plant. And we have here the exemption of customer goods for VAT on the importation of a project material and also the equipment. It means that for this kind of project that is especially for the social contribution and also for the country contribution, all the equipment that is going to be imported from some country to our country will benefit this will be benefits to this exemption in terms of VAT. There's not going to be paid some VAT on some of equipment that we need to develop our project. So the local legal framework, for example, in Mozambique, states this kind of incentive and also the taxes that should be taken into account. And as a result of this financial model regarding the Katem's 30 megawatt solar power plant, we found this one here. For example, the indicator that should tell us the feasibility of the project is the IR and also the DSCR, DSRR, which is the reserve account that should be in place, and also to calculate the net present value of the project. So it's important, as we know, that the net present value is an indicator that is important to analyze when we are comparing, for example, different projects and different scenario of the project to make sure which is a viable or which is feasible, and with which can we go forward. So it's important to calculate this indicator as well. And we have here the payback period. That is important. This is important mainly for the lenders, because they want to know how many times do we have to wait to have our money back. So it's important to calculate this one here. Regarding the DSCR, this is important indicator because this will allow us to have access to the finance. I mean, the lenders will mainly want to see what is the DSR of the project that we are presenting us in order to get our money to develop your project. And in the financial market, this is stated that this indicator should stand between 1 and 2, or it should be more than 1, because if it is less than 1, it says that the project is not capable to cover its obligation. I mean, paying the principal and also the interest that should be in place, which is the charge from the lenders. So when it is above 1, it's important to say, okay, our project can generate the revenue, pay all the costs, and also have money to pay or to cover all the debt service. So this is important to calculate also. In terms of benefit to the host government, as we can see here, we found that for the community contribution, in this case was allocated over 1% of the revenue to the local community. So the project, once generating the revenue, will have to allocate 1% of this revenue to the local contribution. So it's not important for us what kind of a project that the community is going to implement with this money. We do not care about this one here, or it's not even so important to care about it, as long as we are going to allocate our money or our revenue to the local contribution. For this project here, we have over $1,161,000 that is going to be allocated to the local community. And remember, and it's important to point out that all these costs here is for over 25 years. It's not the yearly cost or the yearly amount that's going to be allocated. No, it's throughout the 25 years of the project. And we have here the total to pay for the government through the concession fee, as we mentioned. We have this amount here. And for corporate tax suite, we call IRPC on the project. So we have this we put here up to 32% because of the reduction that we explained before, that it can be reduced from by 80% and 6% and 20% as well, as an incentive to permit or to allow the project to pay all the obligations and the costs that are on site. So it's important to mention that. For the $14,540,000, as we are seeing here, is throughout the 25 years of the lifetime of the project. So it means the government will receive from the corporate this one here. Why we are presenting this all costs regarding the taxes and concession fee? Because when we are going to present our project to the national parts, I mean, the government entities that are interested in our project, they will look forward to see what is the benefit of this project for our country. This is the question that we should answer before we go and meet our local government. So it's important to highlight these benefits to the government in order to the project to be acceptable and to be accepted by them. And also not only by them, but also for the country involved or in general, and also for the local community. So it's important to present these benefits to not only for the community and also for the country. Well, as a final consideration, let's say, remember what's the business model. So we have an idea to develop a project, and our main goal is to look forward to answer the question, how can we generate the revenue? And what is the value proposition that we are bringing through this project? And it's important to note that this business model is not mainly for the solar power plant. It can be implemented for different kind of projects. We can use, for example, wind solar power plant, and also geothermal power plant, and many other energy resources, I mean. So the business model is important to take into account and can be implemented for large scale large-scale power plant, as I was mentioning it, by using a project finance. Why we are using project finance? Because this is a large-scale project and requires a bulk of money that should be on site. So it's not, let's say, recommended to use all your own money to this project because of the risks that we can face during the development phases and also the operation of our project. So it's important to take this into account. Should be clearly define the project proposition, as I was saying here. Why are we selling this product to our customer, and why the customer should take this product from us? What is the benefit? What can it change in terms of lifestyle, or what is the benefit of this project for our country, or for the local community, and also for host government? So it's important to highlight these reasons of how are we developing this project and why are we selling this this product to the customers. So it's important to take this into account. Should be defined also in the business model, taking into account the market plan and financial plan. The market plan is to define the value proposition, to define the market or the target market, which is the one who is going to buy your products. In this case here is the energy, which is off taker that's going to pay us for doing so. I mean, producing the energy for the community and also for the country as well. So should be considered the country's legal framework, which is the most important part when we are developing the business model, and also the financial model to sell our product. And also it's important to fulfill all the lenders' requirements. As we saw before, that the lenders have so many requirements, want to see too many feasibility studies, should take into account all the requirements, and they want to make sure that the local or the host government is engaged to our project or is engaged to your project, and make sure that you are going to generate not only the revenue, and also you will be capable to cover the operating costs, and also to have which is called available cash flow for the debit service. This available cash flow for the debit service. It's important because we are going to use this one here to respond or to cover all the obligations regarding the debit, which is paying the principal of money and also the interest that is going to be a charge, or I mean the percentage of charge for lending this money from them. So it's important to take this one here. And we need to make sure about the allocation of the project risk to all the involved parties, because as we saw before, the government is there as any interested part, and the lenders are there, the sponsors also are there, and the provided bank that will give or will pay the producer of energy. This in terms of a letter of credit agreement when the off-taker is not capable to pay it. So all these documents and agreements should be on place, and the lenders will quietly want to see it in order to say, okay, your project is capable to have money to develop or to go ahead with the development of the project. This mainly is done in the financial clause, which is phases that all the requirements, all the documents of the document are analyzed or assessed to make sure that all the contracts, agreements, and all the requirements that is needed is on site. So it's important to do this one here. And develop and present all the requirement technical and financial reports, as we saw here. You are not going to have money from the lender if you are not presenting the financial model and indicator and convince them that they are secure to deposit or to allocate their money in your project without presenting technical and also economic and financial report, because this is a many important part that we need to have into account and present to not only for the or not only to present for the lenders and also for local government and off-taker. So basically, this is what we wanted to tell you about the business model and also the project finance. So yeah, this is we would like to thank you for your attention, and this is the presenters' contacts. And thank you all for being here today for the meeting and being in front of us to hear about a little bit about the business model and also the financial model for any kind of project, not only for solar power plant. We should take this into account. So thank you for everything and for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Caesar and Dr. Gill. It was a very wonderful session detailing all the concepts involved in a project development and what are the risks in the finance, and especially that you've taken a real-time project to discuss with us about how to handle the project business models, especially the documents for developing a project. So it was a wonderful session over here, and we have a few questions from the learners. So I would like any of you to answer these questions. So may I pose the question, Dr. Gill or Mr. Caesar? We have a question that is from Ishmael. He's asking, when it comes to power generation project, the market matters as one of the requirements for a project company. So which market adoption do investors generally favor, merchant or a regulated market? So that's the question. So,
sorry, can you come again with the question?
Yeah, the question is, which market adoption do investors generally favor, merchant market or regulated market?
Yes, thank you. The regulated marketing is it's good to have the regulated marketing, because when we have the regulated marketing, that means we have all legal framework on place, and also with some standard document contract like a PPA power purchase agreement, even shareholder agreement, the concession agreement, loans agreement, and also connection in the operation agreement. So the regulated market is better, but all the business model using the project finance, we can adapt it for each market. First, we need to see the legal framework for us in the country. If there's a vertical utility power company, or is a not a vertical utility power company. Mr. Cesar, can you hear please?
Yeah. As Mr. Gil was saying here, it's important to look to both sides, not only for legal framework and also for revenue. Because when we are looking, for example, only for legal regulator, okay, that's okay, and it sounds good because you are engaged, or you are collecting all the information that is needed for the business model. But also you will have to assess the revenue market. So the main important part is that you have to guarantee or to make sure the both sides, the legal and also the revenue market.
Thank you, Mr. Caesar and Dr. Gill. We have another question regarding the project documents. The learner is asking, how can we access the energy project formulation documents, requirement, and related sample documents to create and submit? So how to get the energy project formulation documents? That's a question.
Okay. Cesar, please.
Well, regarding the project document, we should see, for example, the which is the milestone or the portfolio of similar project that we have, for example, in our or your country. So regarding how can we structure, for example, or produce the project document, it's important. The main important part is to look what is the requirements for example, the technical aspect to be presented on the technical report. So it's important to look at this one here. For example, for grid assessment, we cannot have, or we may not have the specific structure of the items that we need to present for or in our report. So the main part is important to know what kind of items that you need to present in your documents and what is the requirements. For example, if you look for, if you look at the South Africa requirements in terms of electrical or technical issues, we can have there that the local legal framework states some requirements that is necessary for the technical report and for grid connection, for grid assessment as well. So the important part here is to have all the requirements that is requested from the or by the off-taker and also the lenders to give you the money for project development.
Okay, just to highlight what Mr. Cesar said, if we are developing the business model to answer because we can develop this kind of project by direct negotiation, where we have some project, we have some plan of the project, and then we do direct negotiation with the government and the off-taker. But also we can do when you are answering about the some program come from feed-in tariff, auction program, where there's tender on place. If it's the tendering process on place, normally the project document like feasibility study, financial model, it's part of the tendering document. So we can find this all document from this tenders document package or file. As I mentioned also, previously we have a grid code for technical expert. We have some standard from the best practice like International Electrical Commission. We have off-taker standard also that we can get this. But normally, before to get all these documents from off-taker, for some cases, files about the grid from off-taker and some report about the financial balance sheet of the off-taker, we should sign off with the off-taker NDA. That's meaning non-disclosure agreement. That will allow us to protect each part about the project document. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gill. We have another question from policy. What if he's asking, what is the real value of producing clean energy compared to generator source energy? What is the real value of producing clean energy compared to the generator sourced energy?
Okay. The real value from this clean energy, it's about the tons of CO2 that we can reduce. This is the principal real value of the clean energy. Other values is to we have natural resource. Okay, the source of power is natural resource. It's not necessary to buy the source of power. Like when you are do the gas to power, doesn't mean we need to buy the gas. Okay, the cost can become very expensive. Of course, that the solar and the wind project, the technology, it's very expensive because there is some device that we need to put inside of the grid to about the grid stability. But the main real value for this kind of a project for clean energy, it's the tons of CO2 to be reduced. And also we allow us to do universal access of power, because we can develop a small project with this kind of source, like a off-grid for some dedicated community.
And also contribute to the energy transition as well, because as we know, here in Africa, we have so many rural areas that they are still using some energy source that contribute to the engagement of the environment. So implementing this kind of project of clean energy will reduce the index of the use of this source of energy by using the clean, and also in this way we are going to reduce all the tons of CO2 in our environment. So the energy transition is good as well is one of the value of producing the clean energy.
Okay, thank you, Cesar. The same learner has asked another question. So how can the clean source of energy be promoted as a reliable and inexpensive source of energy in developing countries when there is a rising fuel cost and climate change impact?
Also, how can you promote the reliable? I didn't get well there.
He's asking, considering the rise of fuel cost and climate change impact, how can the clean source of energy be promoted as reliable and inexpensive source of energy in developing countries?
So we can promote through some tools, as we said here, like feed-in tariff is one tool that we can use to promote this kind of clean energy source of power. And also we can have in certain countries some incentive that the government has on place, that this incentive can promote, can help the developing country to promote this kind of energy. Like in Mozambique, we do design the tools that can allow the government to give some exemption during the import of the asset for solar power plant, to include it as the exemption, and also to map some special zones where there's a exemption of the tax during the debit service timing. So there are some aspect, legal, financial, technical aspect that you can put on place to promote it, to help us to promote and develop this kind of project for the developing country.
Okay.
I don't know that my answer helped the question or not.
Thank you, Dr. Gill. We have another question also. It is from that learner. He is asking, how can one be successful consultant in managing similar projects and not necessarily an energy-related problem?
Sorry, I'd like to ask you to come again with the
yeah, he's a business development consultant. So he wants to ask, how can one be a successful consultant in managing similar project, not necessarily an energy related? If it's not an energy related problem, how can he use the same models for managing his projects? So he's asking whether he can use the same business model that we have discussed for any other projects as well.
So if you understood the question, is like, how can be the good consultant to manage this kind of project? What we present here is the basic concept and highlighting some information. But deeply, we need to to be the good consultant, we need to have some attention for technical aspect first, to have also attention about demand forecasting, to see the target market, to have attention also about the financial model. So we are here. We can share our experience. We can share some draft project that we have with the guys that are doing this equation, and why not with all? Okay, and to share our experience when we are doing the consulting service for this kind of the project.
Well, particularly talking about financial model, a good financial advisor should know mainly the decision indicators that should be analyzed or assessed in order to advise the developer of or regarding the feasibility of the project. I mean, so a good successful a manager should know this one here and should be capable to tell the developer to say, okay, your project is facing this, and this problem, and you can sort them by using that and that tools. For example, we were saying here, as Mr. G was saying, we have to not only look at the financial model and also to the requirements of the local legal framework and also the requirements of the lender. So we have to say, for example, the financial advisor should know how to deal with, for example, the interest on the debit that is required, and what is the benchmark, for example, of the interest that is implemented in this kind of project, and also what kind of criteria that is used to make a decision on the profitability of the project, and also the feasibility of the project. So there are many things that should be taken into account, not looking for example, the economic and financial indicator, and also the legal framework, and also the benchmark, and to combine everything that is necessary to make a decision. Because as we know, this is not quite easy to say, okay, your project is quite good and is sustainable and is feasible, without taking this exercise of analyzing the project deeply and going details on the project. So you need to get this ability by combining too many requirements.
Thank you, sister. We have other lots of questions coming up, but due to our time bound, we have to wind up. Maybe the learners or the attendees can connect with our presentees. As they have mentioned, they have extended that support to you all, so you can connect back to them. So I also would like to thank all our attendees for being with us and posting excited questions and being very active in our webinar. I'm also pleased to inform you that we have released our most awaited global MPA from the Alberto University, UK, and we will be offering 40% discount to the course fee for our first batch. So we have already provided the links in the chat box. So we have other aligned courses as well, as in postgraduate diploma in managerial finance, project management, financial risk and management, and so on. So you can just check out these courses in our links. So once again, let me thank you all for joining today and being with us. For your kind information, you will all get your certificate of participation via the registered email, and you can revisit our this webinar session through our UniAthena YouTube page. The link is also provided in the chat box. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. So once again, thank you so much for your kind participation. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.